Remember that gorgeous guy from the A-Team in Battlestar Galactica? Well, today on McDougall MD, Dirk Benedict will tell us how he cured his prostate cancer by eating right. Plus, we'll talk with a leading expert on breast cancer, and we're going to make some low-fat, yummy McDougall burritos. I'm Mary McDonough, and this is McDougall MD. Hey, John.
Good to see you bounce out here today.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Good to see you. Welcome.
Nice to be asked.
We have a special guest here today, right,
a
John?
very special guest, Dr. C. Barbara Mueller. He was head of McMaster's surgery department for many, many years, and he was a tremendous influence on me in my early career. Mary, there was, in the state of Hawaii, which I used to live in, there was a law for informed consent that was proposed, and that law requires that women be told that they have various options when it comes to breast cancer. And you've heard of those options: lumpectomy, mastectomy, radical mastectomy. Well, it was his basic work that laid the foundation for me giving testimony that supported that law, so that you have to be told your various options.
Well, thank you. And your work has also given us a lot of hope and different options. Can you tell us a little bit about it? About the history and
about the options?
That and a little of the history, if you will.
A little of the history. Well,
yeah.
The history starts, of course, at the end of World War II, in which the classic and only procedure for breast cancer was what is called radical mastectomy, which is a big mutilating operation. Takes a long time, 3 or 4 hours sometimes, and that was the operation. Not long after that.
That was the only choice then.
And
really the only
doctors
choice.
Thought it cured, right?
Well, that was what the hope was.
Yes.
And not long after that, people began to wonder if that much was needed. And so a classic study by the National Breast Cancer Project under Dr. Fisher compared 2 groups of women, one who had radical mastectomy and one who had the lesser procedure known as mastectomy, simple mastectomy.
Simple, okay.
And when they followed it up 10 years later, the survival curves for the 2 procedures were identical.
Well, you'd think
Really?
everybody had switched to simple mastectomy.
Well, it doesn't take.
Doesn't
it
happen
takes
overnight,
time.
does it?
It doesn't happen overnight, particularly when you believe in something firmly.
Yes.
And we all believed in radical mastectomy.
Well, how do we get to a lumpectomy then?
Well, and a few years later, the question arose as whether or not taking the total breast off was required. And would it be possible just to take out the cancerous part of the breast? Some studies were going on in Italy, and certainly the studies that came out of Pittsburgh under Dr. Fisher were set up, and so a large controlled study compared total mastectomy or simple mastectomy with lumpectomy. And guess what? The survival curves were identical.
The same still.
So if you had a choice, I mean, if you have breast cancer
Well,
and you
of
can
course.
get by with keeping your breast as opposed to losing
losing
it, you would
everything.
think that would be a logical choice.
Well, considering that those are the results and the outcomes, sure.
Well, it
It would be less mutilating.
was never compared with lumpectomy with radical mastectomy, but the inference
Oh,
was
but
made, but jump-wise, that they were all the same. And so I think that most of us now believe that taking out only the cancer and the portion of the breast that contains it is sufficient when you measure by survival.
And most ladies' magazines, television reports, and so on come to that same conclusion, that you have an option. And the
Yes.
reason you need to know that you have that option is because whatever you choose, you're going to live the same length of time. And that's basically what Dr. Mueller's work showed, is you're going to live the same length of time. And now we have 18 states that have informed consent laws that help women understand that they have these
No, of
various
course,
options.
I would say only 18.
Well,
Only 18.
Well, remember that
Process is slow. I know
think that
progress goes.
every surgeon doesn't believe that less is as good as more,
nor every woman.
nor every woman.
That's true. There are women who are very afraid, who just would. I think they sort of say, "Well, just get rid of everything, just take it all." So and thinking that that will increase their chances, but that doesn't seem to be necessarily so.
No, but the problem with lumpectomy is that there are local recurrences.
Yes.
It's not as easy to find the margins and to make sure you've gotten around all the cancer in the breast.
Yes, but if you keep having checkups, if you find something else, then you may end up having a mastectomy. But
You may end up having your mastectomy
But you
later,
might not.
and you might not.
But is the
That's
length,
right.
length of survival the same even if you have a local recurrence?
Yes, that's the strange part.
So it's not a serious mistake to take just the lump and not have a.
Statistically, it doesn't seem to make any difference, and yet in mentally thinking about it, you'd say, well, that tumor must have been there all of that time before the local recurrence is visible. Mm-hmm. Is that much more of a risk for getting a metastasis? See, women don't die of their cancer in the breast. They die of cancer elsewhere. It goes from the breast to the elsewhere. So was there a time for it to spread while it was there and not shown? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem to make any difference in survival.
How long have you been recommending simple operations for breast cancer?
About 35 years.
35 years. And the statistics are, even to date, that 65% of women still have mastectomies.
Yes, that's because surgeons believe that if you're going to cut on it, take it big. Make sure you got the margins.
Surgeons do surgery, don't they?
Surgeons do surgery.
That's true.
But what we have to do is we have to get women informed so that they can get involved in these decisions with their doctor. And sometimes mastectomy might be the right thing for a woman.
Well, it's not just as simple as we've said so far, because the choices are determined not alone by what the operation is, but the size of the tumor and the size of the breast and the age of the woman and the position of the tumor in the breast are all considerations to be taken, are all things to be taken into account.
It seems like there's a lot to consider.
And we need to have our patients talk to their doctors about it. When we come back, I'll be talking with actor Dirk Benedict.
I have documents because I did a television series and 2 or 3 movies when I was a big meat eater, and then went away and then had a myriad of physical problems, not the least of which was prostate cancer, and went away and came back and looked younger than when I left.
For a brighter future, just say hello.
And welcome back. Mary, there are all kinds of controversies in medicine, especially in the area of cancer. Mm-hmm. And one of the greater controversies is the issue of diet in cancer. I mean, treating cancer with a healthy diet, it's labeled quackery, or at least it has been until recently, but there are many people who believe that a healthy diet is the foundation to recovering from cancer. Does this seem strange to you?
No, that doesn't seem strange to me.
Well, after all, you know.
But I've been hanging around you.
Yeah, well, if you figure that they say diet causes cancer, then it makes sense to stop it. Sure.
And you can move it around.
I had recently had a chance to meet with an actor, Dirk Benedict,
Yes.
who believes he cured his prostate cancer with a healthy diet. Let's join him.
Okay.
Dirk, I have you here because you have one of the more interesting diets in Hollywood. Tell us what it is.
That's true. Actually, I'm probably, well, no longer can I say I'm the only brown rice actor in Hollywood, but I'm probably one of the first, and I'm probably the most true to the principles behind what is called a macrobiotic diet. Basically, what it means is I eat a lot of, it's a way of eating that has whole grain as its staple. Tofu, tempeh, seitan, udon and soba noodles, miso every morning. Some people out there may not know, though, they may think I'm speaking a foreign language, and I've been doing it now for, 25 years. And I've raised 2 boys.
You must have started when you were 10.
I did. I was precocious. No, I come from a long line of carnivores.
Tell us how old you are.
No, I'm 54 years old.
54, and you look
54.
Fantastic.
Do you know, it's interesting. I have documents, because I did a television series and 2 or 3 movies when I was a big meat eater, and then went away and then had